Right, so the problem was the closing tags here. It doesn't seem to recognize these like so, because those are for HTML5, I guess. So let's do that. So it recognizes them. Now I can put it back where it belongs, which is 100, 100. And let me change the fill back to white. Okay, so let's come back here and see that. Okay, there we go. So at least we have that and the a proper joint, and then we can put another joint here by just duplicating this and putting this coordinate there. So we'll put x 200 and y 150, and that should work. Boom, as you can see. Maybe the radius should go down to 5. Okay, so it really depends what you want. So at least you can see that we're beginning to create a graph of some kind. Boom, 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 boom. All we need is to lower this to the bottom so that it can come back down here like this. Let's see here. Making gradients instead of just colors is a little complex, but I have a full-time tutorial on making graphs on my channel. You can check that out in the playlists. But what I want to do here is put one more coordinate for the polyline, which is, I just know the y has to be maximum, which is 400. But the x maybe can be 300, comma, like that. Okay, so once I do that, that way it will come down here and then it can always go back properly, like this. So as you can see, it's like that, and then very cool. So if I change the color of the polyline to something weaker, it would look much better. So instead of just black, let's replace all black with CCC, like that. And let's see, something simple. Too much. Let's try 888. It's almost disappearing. Let's try 666. Mark of the beast. Okay, so there we go. Boom, 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 boom. Very nice. Or you can just remove the line altogether by removing the stroke, right? So stroke width, I can put that at 0, or just change the stroke itself to white so it blends into the background. That's the polyline itself. And then I can have a graph that looks like this. So maybe this is what you fancy instead of the other one. So let's see the fill here. Let's remove it from E, put a D instead, the fill color. All right, so that looks like a much better graph, right? Also, remember that these are kind of like HTML elements. So you can use hover. You can actually put links on these things. You know, it's very cool. What I can do is, this is a polyline and this is a circle. Right on the circle here, I can put an A tag, believe it or not. I can do this. These things are active. Okay, so I can refresh. And as you can see now, it's pointable. If I click, it actually refreshes the page. So these are active elements, or maybe I can put a hover effect, for example. Let me show you that. Just like we would do normally when we do this. Let me put a styling thingy here real quick, just to show you. SVG is quite interesting. So what I can do is say SVG and then put circle, SVG and then circle, like that, which means the circle that's inside the SVG. So I want a hover effect. I will put hover like this, and then hover will mean that I change its stroke color to red. Okay, let's try that. Refresh. Oopsie daisy. Okay, so the reason it's not working might look like, oh boy, it's not working, but it is. The reason it's not working is that the color is set inline here, so that overrides everything I do up here. So instead I should duplicate this, remove the hover on this one so that this is the normal. So the normal stroke is, what's the stroke here? 666, right? So let me remove these strokes on the circles. That way they're not inline anymore, they're here. So I can change them to a hover when I want. So if I do this, you see, changes to a red color like that. So you can do all sorts of things. You can hide things here and then show them only when the when you hover on them. I can show you that by doing, let's put this at 10 and put that at 10. Okay, so when I hover here, I can tell it that display is none. But when I hover on it, wait, this won't work, will it? Nah, this will not work at all. Yeah, this is weird because I think the hover effect doesn't work if the display is none. Okay, let's try opacity instead, right? Let's put opacity at 0. Then when I hover on it, we're going to change the opacity to 1, which is the maximum. Let's try that. So if I refresh, there's opacity, but if I hover on it, look at that. Boom, boom. Isn't that nice? Look at that. Look at that. So you can do some very neat effects here that that you don't normally, that you can use with HTML. You can even animate these things. For example, real quick animation here. Forgive me for going on and on about these things. Keyframes, right? Keyframes is how do you make an animation. So I'll just call the animation move like this. Then I'll put a 0% and a 100% here. So this tells it what styles to apply at 0% versus on 100%. But you can put styles at any percent. You can put some at 50 and so on throughout the animation. So this just means the start of the animation, the end of the animation. But you can put other animations, other styles in between. So here what I want is I want to translate, to transform, and then use the translate in the y-axis, which is weird because once I translate, it's going to move. What do? I don't know what effect would be nice here, because once I hover and it moves away, it's going to create an infinite loop. But let's see it in action anyway. So say 100 pixels, and then eventually it comes down to 0 pixels. Okay, at 100%. Then here I just need to tell it that animate move for 1 second, right? Use an easy ease. Yeah, this might not actually work because no, this won't work actually. The point I'm trying to put across, it only works when it starts. So in order to see that, let me remove this opacity. Let me put it at 1. Then you will see it this time. So refresh. That didn't work. So move 1 second is, what have I forgotten here? I think it's animation. Animation. Yes, that's what it should be. There we go. So you see there are animations there going on as well. Boom, like that. I can, yeah, that actually works. So this is what you can do with SVG. Very powerful. You can do all kinds of things. So for now that you've known the basics, let's actually create our own graph using some actual data. I'll see you in the next video.